Good day, my name is John Mendoza and I'll be doing the introduction to SQL. So first up, history. The IBM SQL language was developed as part of the System R project at the IBM San Jose Research Laboratory, renamed Structured Query Language or SQL. Commercial systems offer most, if not all, SQL-92 features, plus varying feature sets from later standards and special proprietary features. Data Definition Language. The SQL Data Definition Language, or DDL, allows the specification of information about relations, including the schema for each relation, the domain values associated with each attribute, integrity constraints, and other information such as the set of indices to be maintained for each relations, security and authorization information for each relation, and the physical storage structure for each relation on disk. So what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL lets you access and manipulate databases. SQL is an ANSI, or American National Standards Institute standard. So what can SQL do? SQL can execute queries against a database, can retrieve data from a database, can insert records in a database, can update records in a database, can delete records from a database, can create new databases, can create new tables in a database, can create stored procedures in a database, and can create views in a database. SQL can set permissions on tables, procedures, and views. Domain types in SQL: char, varchar, integer, small integer, numeric, real double precision, and float. These are some of the most important SQL commands: select, update, delete, insert into, create database, alter database, create table, alter table, drop table, create index, drop index. So now let's proceed to provide some samples of those commands. The SQL create table statement. The create table statement is used to create a table in a database. Tables are organized into rows and columns, and each table must have a name. SQL creates table syntax. So the highlighted part specifies the name of the column of a table. The next highlighted part specifies the type of data the column can hold, and the last highlighted part specifies the maximum length of the column of the table. Example: let's create a table persons using the following information: person, last name, first name, address, and city. So this is the output. So we're able to successfully create this table. Next example is the SQL insert into statement. So the insert into statement is used to insert new records in a table. It is possible to write the insert into statement into two forms. First form does not specify the column names where the data will be inserted, only their values. The second form specifies both the column names and the values to be inserted. So let's do an example. So for this one, we have this table, and we'll use this query, insert into customer name, contact address, city, postal code with the following values. So the output, we're able to add a new row at the bottom, the following information that we needed to add. So next example is the SQL update statement. The update statement is used to update existing records in a table. So let's do an example. So for this one, we will have to change the name of the first contact name, Alfred Futterkist. So we'll have to change the name of Alfred Futterkist and the city, Berlin. So we'll be using this query, and the output, we're able to update successfully the last name of Alfred and the city to Hamburg. Next is the SQL delete statement. The delete statement is used to delete rows in a table. So for example, we have this table and we have to delete the first row. So we'll use this query, and this is the output. So we're able to successfully delete the first row of the table. SQL joins. SQL joins are used to combine rows from two or more tables. An SQL join clause is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a common field between them. The most common type of join is SQL inner join or simple join. An SQL inner join returns all rows from multiple tables where the join condition is met. Example. So we have these two tables and we need to integrate them. So the highlighted rows are the command fields, are the common fields. So we'll use this query, and this is the output. So we're able to successfully integrate those two tables. So what are the different SQL joins? Inner join, left join, right join, full join. So now, let's try out some of these statements using a real database.
So I have pre-created a table here for ComSci 206. So let's try to familiarize ourselves. So let's try to create a table using the statement that we've used earlier. So let's try create. So please come create table. Let's call our table students. Let's use student ID as one of the attributes. So make it integer 25 length, and then we're going to include first name. First name. Also, let's use varchar. Also 25 in length, and then last name. Also varchar 25. Like to know their city, also this varchar 25, and then lastly probably country, this varchar 25. Right. Okay, so let's create. We're good with our table. So we have student ID, first name, last name, city, and country as our attributes for the table student. Okay, so here you'll see that our SQL query has been executed, and we've created a table called students. So let's see. Alright, so let's see what the table looks like. So it appears here our student table. Okay, and then let's try to add another. Try now to insert another row, or insert a row into our database students, into our table students. Okay, so in inserting a row or data, we'll be using insert into. Alright, so let's try to insert. Okay, sorry, not that. Okay, so first attribute student ID, so let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then let's first name, let's use John, and then last name, let's say his last name is Smith, and then city, say he lives in Manila, and then country, Philippines. Right. Okay, so let's try to insert a row for John Smith. Alright, so we see here, so it says here that our one row has been inserted. Alright, so here is you see here, there's already a data here for John Smith. Okay. Our next activity we would like to update our data for John Smith. I would like to change his first name. So, okay, so we'll be using the let's say I'd like to use Alden. Alden, where first name was John. Right. So, okay, let's execute this statement. Okay, so it says here it was executed successfully. So let's try to see our table now. Okay, so you'll see here the first name has been changed from Alden, from John to, it's now showing Alden. So we have changed this. Different statements such as create table, insert into, and update. So now let's try to use delete statement. So from our SQL, so let's try to delete. Okay, so we're going to delete from the students table. So let's say I'd like to delete the row with last name Smith. So last name. So that's my last name equals Smith. So again, for this kind of statement, so it deletes the entire row. So let's try to execute this. Okay, so we have deleted row Smith. Let's see our table. Alright, so now we don't have any entry on our table. So yeah, that's it. So I hope you learned something.
A database most often contains one or more tables. Each table is identified by a name and contains rows with data. A relational database is a collection of data items organized as a set of formally described tables from which data can be accessed or reassembled in many different ways without having to reorganize the database tables. The SQL language has four basic data manipulation statement types. Select, the statement that retrieves information from a database. Insert, the statement that creates new record into the database. Update, statement that updates information from a database. And delete, the statement that deletes record from a database. The select statement is used to retrieve data from a database. Its basic query block is composed of the clauses select, attribute list, from table list. Attribute list is the list of attribute names whose values are to be retrieved by the query. Table list is the list of the relation names required to process the query. Some database systems require a semicolon at the end of each SQL statement. Semicolon is the standard way to separate each SQL statement in database systems that allow more than one SQL statement to be executed in the same call to the server. To illustrate, displayed is a table of employee. We want to retrieve department number and the employee name. So we will use the SQL statement select department number, comma, employee name from the table employee. And the result will now display the two columns indicated in our select statement.